Rising routine. Grand. What they say, grand rising. I had to do early morning sesh. Get up, do something for yourself. Whew. Get up, do something for yourself. Oh, mommy, I'm just catching my breath. Oh, it's warm early. The heat coming through them through that window is real heat too. That shit coming through that glass like a magnifying glass. That shit heat up something. I'm just hotter because I did a little workout. It's so wild because this is going off the video that I had mentioned before. I had literally my storage got, it said my storage got full. I had just deleted stuff. Dang, my junk was blurry. I had just deleted stuff. But I did have like up to like 3 hours. But y'all know how iPhone do. I had up to like 3 hours. So I was just like, how? How, Sway? Then I had supposed to met someone earlier. But I had laid back. Went back to take another nap in the rise. I was like, yeah, nah. And I was like, I just hope it ain't past 9 o'clock. And sure enough, it was 10. But I'll show y'all the progress of this. I know y'all probably was wondering what was that gray spot. But as you can see, the masterpiece is, sometimes I just shock myself. But you gotta know you that. You know, you him or her. Like, you got to know that. I don't mind what I call my dad bod. I just realized my shirt, I left it outside. It's outside. So the video that I ended with was referencing the fact of what I was speaking about was like how the divine will bring you into areas. Makes me next to my mind spirit. I gotta eat too. One moment. Okay, I actually feel more comfortable, like with a shirt on. Like, I really didn't mind, but then again, I tell myself I just really feel more comfortable with a shirt on. My body's going through some shit, boy. But I realized, like, through healing and shit, you really have to, like really pay attention. You know, when you're called to a space and so forth to really heal. I'm glad I got some fruit. I've been wanting fruit and water. So the previous video, I was talking about how, let's give honor to Source, to the Creator, Most High, whatever you subscribe to. Let's give gratitude to the ancestors known and unknown for the highest good of all. For the greatest good of all, too. The masterpiece I just showed you, you see how all those men or individuals, whatever you say, it's like, that's a clear representation of, like, what's in you, but what's a part of you. So it's like, it's not apart from you. When you think about apartment, like set apart, that's like a clear representation, how it's all connected. The stars, things ancestrally, and so forth. I gotta finish that. I got a few more things that I'm looking at that I have to finish. One, two. It's a few more eyes, specific eyes that I want to add there. One, two, three. Yeah, that'll be it. So yeah, and what is this? Some hot sauce. I'm finna try some hot sauce on a burrito. I just heated up. Yeah, burrito. So get your fruit too. I try to do a balance. Like I do have my vices. Like I have a fucking sweet tooth. Being introduced to shit early, boy, I've got much better, but I do have it. Like I'm not denying that whatsoever. I do drink water more than anything. Like naturally now, I fast. My weight fluctuates. You know, that's like an athlete thing in a way, or those who have high. I'm about to say high tolerance is a high menopause is something else. That's for women, ain't it, or something? A high something. I just know I have to, like, and the body rules the zodiac, like certain things rule the body. So I realized, like, in my natal chart too, like I have to really be attentive to a lot of parts. And I have to do a lot more stretching and relaxing. I'm sitting here saying I need to do it now. Because I was stretching the day before. I'm telling y'all, bro, stretching will have your ass like feeling so high. Because you got to think about the blood not getting to certain places. It's like oil not reaching the motor. And it's not going to start. So that's why how I look at like how when people just not be active. Now, I'm not saying not relax and rest because I've been reflecting on a lot of these transits too, especially when this Jupiter in Cancer was supposedly I have in my chart, how much it has had me going inward. And that's been a real thing. To where a lot of things are coming up around, okay, are you ready? Get ready. Because we're at the tail end. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be wild. I'm hearing the stages set, and also for your haters too. But this is one of my favorite things always as a child, applesauce. I used to sneak my grandma applesauce. I used to do some funny ass shit. I used to do some funny shit. I'm just having memories come up. I used to do some funny shit. Open sodas, try to replace it with water. Oh my God, I know I can't be the only one who did that. Sneak and eat stuff. I think a lot of boys do that, but people, I don't know, me. I was definitely like sneaky, investigative type. Snooping around, seeking shit. That's just me. Like, don't think you're gonna hide something from me type thing. But I also realized like that was part of one of my gifts. It's almost like nothing can be hidden. And I was reading something about Gemini placements too, like how they're more of a mirror. You hear me say duality, but I can see how the evolved aspect of that is a mirror. That's why I realized, like, the more I start to embody this, the energy, I realize I am a mirror for sure with a lot of things. Even for myself. Things I don't want to see. I don't want to know. But yeah. Things I'm reminded to do is pretty good. A little spinach up in here. Hot sauce hot as fuck. I love that hot and that sweet. But my grandma used to always have applesauce. It's like people used to do stuff, but you never see them eat it. You never see them eat it. But they always knew it was me. TJ, you been up? Yeah. Sure will. A lot of things inspire me now that I know with what I'm coming into, what I already have. I get excited because I know the work is not in vain. Doing the inner work. A part of the interconnectedness, like the judgment that people don't realize, like this is the new channel too, Weighing of the Hearts, is that the abundance is also being restored because we're all are supposed to have in an abundant way. So when you think about how, if you research the weighing of the scale, and how things are supposed to be in harmony, there's a reason why a lot of shit is being portrayed to keep people chasing after something externally, feeling like the weight is on their shoulders, or with a heavy heart. They go, see, this is the thing, they go after this shit with a heavy heart without really focusing and going within and focusing on themselves and seeing the bigger picture. They go after things. And so then when they obtain it, they still have a heavy heart. They still have a heavy heart. I'm not playing this game. Flies, man. They just come out fucking nowhere. Like a fucking monitoring speed, but and see, that's the thing that is being so restored with these transits that are happening. It's because that's what's going to be revealed. There's a lot of beings, people out here who feel people don't deserve stuff just simply because they didn't put the work in. Now, I get that part. At the same moment, because the efforts are always going to show. But I'm reminding y'all that a lot of stuff still was purposely orchestrated. Especially if a person wasn't shown something and how to get out of something. That's what I mean, the foundations of stuff to keep people helpless. Because there are people who do want to get out of said situation. They just don't know how. And I feel like this is where I come in, and a lot of other people who are coming online and awareness of that. Because there's something in them. It's like a soul yearning. It's a soul yearning. And also, this is where the heart expansion comes. Because you start to realize it becomes bigger than just the surface superficial shit. And I don't think I need a wipe. Grapefruit's typically not sticky, but so this is just the clarity and insight that I've been getting. And it's so funny. Every time I eat applesauce, I think about the memory of like how I used to sneak and open the applesauce. I would literally do shit to make it seem like nothing, like they sold it to you like that, knowing that they didn't. But anywho, so yeah, that's part of it. One of a lot of stuff that's been restored because I recognize it within myself. When you see the injustice, like when you think about life's not fair and so forth, because there's been shit behind the scenes that have a lot to do with orchestrating this that's being brought to the light, the physical. So from that, these are things that are gradually being revealed and who have had their hand in it as well. So that's a whole nother thing. This is why you're going to see people start questioning so much around, which is already happening. You know, a person who calls themselves a billionaire or other stuff. And, you know, on my other video, I talked about that. It's like seeing how why is there a select few of people who have a said abundance or, you know, these things, and others are not or can't access, you know, without some type of restriction or limitation. And again, yes, the stars are aligning, but at the same moment, there's still a bigger picture to all of how what has unfolded. And again, that's still those who know spiritually, initiations, or people know they have to be a part of something to actually obtain and receive it in the physical. So again, the behind the scenes, like the Wizard of Oz, you start to recognize like more and more, those with eyes can see that, okay, there's something behind all of this that has been perpetrating as if it's this, but it's not. And you're really not who you say you are. So that goes back to the previous video when I was talking about how people such as myself are definitely exposed to certain energies, and also like how when you think about entity attachments, when you think about spiritual warfare, when you think about principalities, virtues, and all these different things, there are things that gradually people get exposed to. Is it just me, but where the fuck, like, how the fuck does fruit flies just come out of nowhere? Like, you don't see them outside. It's like when you finish a fruit, how the fuck do you just... That got to be one of the greatest forms of magic, because I just be wondering, what the fuck? Where did you even come from? Anywho. So yeah, I was talking about like even the what y'all call celebrity aspect, how the new stars or the all stars are here, but not pertaining to celebrities. a lot of people don't realize, like, y'all going to start to see the hearts of people. You're going to start to see that how much they mask and through their patterns. And the video, I saw a video the other day, was talking about how, like, don't trust the words, trust the pattern. Now think about the fact of even how you're seeing people's patterns, how they come in, how they go out, when they do something, and so forth. And where is this from? Oh, this is vegan? I didn't know that. That's great. Trinidad Scorpion. It's pretty good. It's not too hot. But anywho, notice how it's basically like what Malcolm was mentioning, how you can't look towards these people or individuals for not just the support, but they're all a part of the same structure, foundation, like I'm telling y'all, that is knowingly now collapsing. And you got so many people, because I reference things from the spiritual community, people who know that are tapped in with a ranking to be able to see and know what exactly people are here to do and what they're a part of. They're just as much as a pawn as if anything. So let's talk about the game of chess, or the checkerboard, because I was just getting clarity of that. And that's just the fucking, I don't know if it's a fruit fly or not. So even with that, again, when you think about the game of chess, you got to think about a game you didn't know you were a part of. But then you become aware that you are a part of it. So then this whole perspective but your perspective changes now. Are you a pawn? Are you a knight? Are you the king or queen? People want to play a position in the fucking game, but do you see the bigger picture of actually being the one who is playing the game, rather than being a specific thing in it? So you gotta see, it's like looking from a perspective of source. You can call it God. It's like you're playing the game. At a point in time, you were a pawn in it, or a specific thing. So now you're okay, checkmate. So that's where the checkmate comes in. So now you're going at your own pace instead of letting someone play you. And all I've been hearing too is don't hate the player, like hate the game. And this is where I began to love the game, but I can still have like I told you about, a hatred for the fact of seeing like the distastefulness in like how people like have tried to manipulate and deceive people. Now through that, again, from hate to love, there's an alchemical process. So now I'm realizing, like, okay, I'm going at my own pace now. I'm doing me now. I'm going at my own rhythm. And so I'm like, okay, let me pace myself. So now it begins to be, instead of me getting played, I'm playing them. Or I'm playing the game to where, it's like that of a bully, to where now you begin to fight back. And it's not even just fighting back. It's just knowing when to realize, like, I know your weaknesses now. So this is where the approach, and you keep people guessing, like you don't know what's next. You don't know what they're going to do. So now this goes back to the fact of, I've got the insight on how a lot of you are in position or exactly where you're supposed to be, and assuming that your life has been in vain. Whether you have spiritual gifts, or people have used you, but some of y'all don't even know that shit. Some of y'all don't even know, like, a lot of you are in places and you've been monitored, your gifts, without consent. And this is where the judgment is going to come in, the divine justice. So, because it's an energetic thing. And then now, the divine was bringing awareness how you're not just moving and relocating and shifting. A lot of this shit now is how the divine to hide you in plain sight. So, for instance, I'll use my life. The recent move that I've been in a specific area has very significance to the inner work and the things I'm supposed to acquire, whether energetically, spiritually, emotionally, and so forth. And it's like a game. So you gotta think about, there's things not wanting you to become more aware, to become more in tune, to become more equipped. But this is how it was prepared. So now you start to become like, oh, okay, now I get it now. And with that, this is also where to whom is given much is required, no matter who you are, no matter if you subscribe to gender or not. And so I've noticed, like, how, again, you're no different than anybody else coming into these spaces. Now, I keep hearing too, it's like that Chiron and Aries. Bitch, I'm about to take up so much space. And I know it. You got to know, like, you about to take up so much motherfucking space that there's nothing no one can do about it. And you are so protected. And this is why through your knowingness, before you didn't know. Because that's the fear that the low vibration or certain shit will feed off of. Think about a narcissist or certain people in your family. Those were the same energies. Those were the same foundations that people lived upon. Felt like they have to say and do this to keep you stagnant. Now you're going to have people who are now so much in tune that they're operating from a higher source and so forth, to where now they're just going to move just so intentional, to where it's almost like I told y'all, like that verse that says, I shall come like a thief in the night. You won't know their next moves. And it makes me think about that song Nobody with Nas and Lauryn Hill, when she said the anointed can choose their own path. Or choose their own, yeah. That song is fire too. I represent that song, but she was saying some shit in there. She was like, the hole you try to dig for me, you end up falling in yourself. Or the hole you try to dig for others, you end up falling. Like, she was dropping some fucking gems, bro. That's why I told y'all, not everybody that is a part of something is consumed by it. They're playing the fucking game. You gotta realize, like, one of her greatest fucking albums, I'm glad I'm picking up on her, because me and her have a Six of Club energy. Now, those of you that don't know or more about cardology and so forth, something I would encourage too. A lot of this shit is so ancient or so, like, powerful, a lot of people aren't aware of. I just introduced someone to that. Or did I? Yeah, hold on. Actually, yeah. Because she's coming to find out more about her path. And again, this ain't for everybody, but a lot of y'all, a lot of your dream state, these are the ancestors interceding. They're not supposed to give you everything. You know what I'm saying? They're going to get, the divine operates just like that, of very strategic in like in a discipline aspect. It's just like you have to learn this before you graduate spiritually or you go through this initiation. You know how they say it's levels. Yes. And it's a beautiful thing because it's still almost remaining childlike because you got to think about how a child had to learn how to walk and so forth. There will be others in your life that represent a mother and father energy, but also through the distortion. So think about trauma bonding when you're very young. There were certain people, again, this was a part of my initiation. I recently got one of my books and I was talking about it. Like I talk about actually my journey where I now reflected more of how I've always had natural gifts and abilities. I just knew something was like trying to prevent me from actually progressing, and especially in my hometown. Like I used to have these dreams of the eyes that you see I'm doing now did not look like the eyes that used to look at me in my dreams. I'm talking about there was shit like watching me, but in this insidious in evil eye aspect. Like there was shit that was like locked in on me. So now that I become more aware, I'm more aware that there is a duality to everything. There is even in through people's inability to know that they're in an emotion or in something. Like, you know, when someone's angry, you've done something, that's like looking at them with the intent to either harm. So you got to realize like there are and have always been vices or certain things, or if you want to call it that, that has the intent to try to destroy or disrupt, I should say, because they cannot destroy you, but the intent to disrupt your path. Or, you know, and this goes back to, again, going back to the sister, like I told her, like, and it's funny because she, we pulled up her chart and I was telling her, like, oh shit, you know, again, some of the things I didn't even recognize that I was naturally doing. I'm like, you know, because there's certain things I come into and so forth, but I realized like we had a lot of similarities in the chart. And I was like, oh shit, you really going through something. And then she was telling me how she has went through something in the last 18 years. I'm like, oh, and we the same age? And we have, what the fuck do you call it? What do you call that shit? It's called nodal return, the lunar nodal return, every 18 years. And it's very significant around 36 and 37. So for me, I'll be 37. But I believe she won't be 37 until, no, she'll be 37 before me in July. And it's so wild because she's had these Cancer placements, and I told you Jupiter's in Cancer. So a lot of people, she's going through a lot of things similarly, and this is where a lot of y'all are integrating, going through initiations. Your shit is not in vain. This is the weighing of the hearts now. Because when you're going inward, and now when the divine sets you apart or places you somewhere, this Jupiter in Cancer energy, we like in Mercury in Cancer right now. So a lot of things, Venus in Cancer. For me, I'm very sensitive and very aware of a lot of stuff. And again, being discerning, sometimes you give into your vices, that's okay. I'm not saying like you got to lose yourself. It's the awareness of showing like it's not perfection, it's balance. It's balance. You got to ask yourself now when this thought or something comes up, what is it really? So now you get this awareness around, okay, I got to counter this or I got to move differently. That's the discipline in it. That's really the discipline. So I recognize how she has similar things in her chart. So I'm just giving her bits and pieces, just like this is where, again, a mother-father energy comes along, and it doesn't have to do with the superficiality of what we have become accustomed to, that the powers that used to be has programmed so many people when it comes to the fact of things got to be fucking financial. Things got to be this. No, like, y'all got to realize this shit is shifting. Uranus and Gemini is like the lovers. The lovers aspect has a lot to do with, as I mentioned before, Gemini being, you know, the duality, or more so the mirror. So now you're realizing like you're meeting different souls or different people, beings that are either in the process of like similar progression, of healing and facing themselves and so forth, but there's not an attachment to what the old world narrative would be. Like feeling like, and this for me, it's like feeling like I gotta get close to them or feeling like I gotta do this and that. No, there's the discipline. Again, for me, if you have watched my journey, there's a lot more discipline in overcoming those sexual demons or the sexual trauma aspect of certain things that now, as you see with my artwork, like I got shit right here now that I got like 4 or 5 canvases to where I've even with who I was with, where at the moment, the mother of my kids, you know, don't verbally express to someone, this is where I'm at. I'm not looking to be sexual. I'm not looking to do nothing because I recognize within myself what I need to focus on more. The healing, the adjusting, the pivoting, and so forth. And it shows. That's the beauty of this shit. So that's not, no one's exempt from none of this, because as these transits start to happen, it's again, will always reveal who's doing the inner work and who's not. It doesn't matter what their status and creed is. It's just like someone comes along and reminds me, just like the divine reminds me, wherever I get my insight and instructions. I'm just a vessel to share. I'm just to share with someone else. They have the free will to do what they are, and it's just like a little baby. You drop certain things on them and they don't know and so forth. But at the same moment, yeah, I wasn't finna keep that. I needed to clear that out. So, and that's a whole nother sign right there. When your path becomes like lighter in a sense, especially when you're doing the integration of healing and so forth, not only does your heart becomes lighter, but also your body starts to change. Like that of like the mucus coming up. That is a sign of things leaving, clearing, resting more, tension in the body, things that are showing up. That is going to be the process of that shit. That shadow work, a lot of things. It's just like, again, certain things are renovating a home. Think of the home as that of the lineage, ancestrally. But think of that in almost like every aspect of the timelines that your ancestors, have lived in, or the lineage and so forth, matriarchally and patriarchally. You are literally the home. So that picture, you are the home for that energy, them. That's how powerful this shit is. So when you hear people reference, giving honor and support to the ancestors, yes. But also, there's so much shifting in the perspective of how we also approach these things, because they have to be sacred and safeguarded. So those who are coming into these things, going back to the sister, like she was in her dream state getting more insight, and she, I won't go into too much detail, but basically she was giving me insight on, because I know how to interpret dreams. And a lot of you are seers, and a lot of you are visionaries. A lot of you have certain gifts that will come online to where, think about how the world used to, this is basically how the judgment is happening. Not only did people know who you were spiritually, but it's almost like they couldn't get consent or permission. And it doesn't always happen this way, but most likely sometimes it does, is that they couldn't get consent without your permission. So this is how a lot of you were exposed or opened up to the shadows or to certain things. That's why when you see traumas or a lot of things happen very young, not only could that be something that like could have passed intergenerationally, but there's also things that you were exposed to purposely young, to be ciphering, to be scapegoated through. All these terms are just a way of having access to you, especially if you were highly gifted spiritually or in tune spiritually. So now this is exactly why there's when I say divine protection or the weighing of the scales or things being balanced, is that a lot of people will be stripped from certain things because originally it's not theirs. It's just like someone coming, y'all be thinking about coming and stealing land and shit like that. Bro, all of that shit is spiritual. All of that stuff is ritualistic, like ritual. You know, all of those things have to do with the shadow aspect, the powers that used to be, certain things that overtook a lot of certain people to where they became almost accustomed to the behavior, the pattern, and so forth. And it's just like when you look at something come in and people get like a disease or something plagues the body. It's like a plague. So something comes in and boom, you know, it's not so much of a test, but I'm thinking like a venom. But venom is still a representation of like alchemical. But some people will look at that. No, you got to realize like a point in his life, that shit was like almost like a initiation. Because again, think about him. The shit is symbolic in the movie. His pigmentation was one. That's what is that? Is it yin? The light aspect. Venom was a representation of almost like the dark, the yin and the yang aspect. The darkness that he couldn't run from. You know, and notice how he was fighting off the evils or certain shit that was trying to destroy or do certain things. So it's a representation of things spiritually too. A lot of these movies, just people get caught up in, well, why aren't they this? Why aren't they that? Yes and no, because you got to be able to look at this shit spiritually. That's why they always will try to make stuff that looks like a Venom or monsters and certain shit be like in a sense of something to fear. But when you think about a motherfucker that's trying to be gothic, all these people like Bobby Hemming used to say, motherfuckers don't use our shit, magic, like all this alchemical shit to try to twist and turn to make us fear it. When no one really knows to the depths of what shit really looks like in the darkness. Like, that's the alchemical aspect of how anything in the darkness that comes out can look like something to where you don't really, like, think about darkness in the aspect of, like, you don't even know what the true form of something really is. And that's the thing about, again, the term shape-shifting and so forth. A lot of these things have been twisted and turned to keep people from recognizing that you embody this shit. You can look at shapeshifting the same as like I can go cut my hair and completely look different. Some people can see that as a form of glamour or shapeshifting. So, again, I don't want to go too far into that. So, I thought it was a skateboard. I thought somebody was dragging something. So, yeah, so a lot of these things are becoming more, people are becoming more accepting of, again, once you start to recognize the beauty and the magic in where you come from. Like I said, it becomes more amazing that there are others out there. Especially like, a lot of y'all going to recognize like, a lot of people, like, I'm telling you, bro. Anytime you see people speak about anything indigenous, this is that authority and power that's returning. There's so many celebrities I noticed that are a part of shit to where some of them really cannot help the fact of it's just the power they embody with it. But also I was telling y'all how It's how they've used it or misused it or got too consumed in certain things. Like I told you, they have knowledge of you just as anybody else. They watch you just as anybody else. All of this shit, my art, the stuff that I'm called to create, is showing you the oneness in all of this. Now, the illusion that's been cast is to keep people to think, well, you live here or you live there, so you're not as powerful or you're not as noticeable. Y'all don't realize that that's how the universe hides your ass in plain sight. That still doesn't mean that people don't know you spiritually. Some of y'all gonna come up in certain shit, and this is something I was picking up on. There are gonna be some people that are gonna be so self-righteous as you rise, because this is naturally a part of just like a normal life you live, where universal law, like you reap what you sow. There's something they still cannot stop, because the star that you are has always been, you've always been that. It was just a matter of time where it becomes clearer and clearer to where you realize, like, a lot of, before you came into stuff, you were a way maker, or the way was made for you. And when you look at life like a school of life, and think about how right now there's different, I think I talked about it, there's different sections. You got the popular, the gothic, what do you call that shit? The studs, you know. And I mean that like in the athletics, since I think they used to describe them like that. Cheerleaders, whatever it is. Once you start looking like this is how they divided shit, no matter if you think about, you got the witches, the wizards, you got all this shit. And once you start realizing like the levels to it, it's like that of a world that you don't see. That's why a lot of you have gifts to where you are a part of almost like an academy that's private. It's almost like a fucking Harry Potter shit. There's things only you can see. Now remember, there was so much shit with Harry, there's so much shit that was going on to where they didn't want him to see, so much illusion, so much shit. They all end up fucking themselves over. That's why some of y'all see these people with what you think is the physical material shit. You have your spiritual currency, you have and will obtain this lifetime way more than you can even imagine, simply by disciplining yourself and rising in the ranks, because your ancestors knew of the highest good, of course, and your spirit guides knew that you were going to be able to do that shit, and already have. People now can only get out of the way. That's like you're the new student that everyone's focusing on. At the same moment, it ain't new to you. You ain't looking for the attention. You just coming in, trying to go to class, life, the class of life, school of life. You just trying to go in, get what you need to get, and move on. Now, of course, you got crushes. This shit is fucking wild. You're gonna have people crushing on you. And y'all gotta realize, I told you, people watch you. People watch you. Your light becomes brighter the more you start to integrate shit. Think about the bullies. Y'all keep thinking bullies are just people. Bullies is no different than a passive aggressive person, no matter if they're a celebrity, no matter what their status is and so forth. They just hide it. So once you start looking at the bigger aspect of like oh, I'm in this world, but I'm not of it. At the same time, most of these people are of these programs and so forth. So now you coming in just simply being authentic in your integrity, being in integrity, you disrupt the shit you don't even know. Because this person, let's say a celebrity or this individual so forth, was so used to getting the attention. They were so used to having the spotlight on them, but all in an insecure way, or in a way where now you're going to see the desperation, or sometimes it'll reveal their true character and so forth. And this is where universal law comes in. People will fuck around and find out who you are and want to be a part of you and your world simply because it's in you, not on you. These are the all-stars. Not your stars of your old world, what y'all call stars. These are the originals. These are people who have always been them. Not to say they haven't got distracted and been a part of stuff, but they got redirected. So again, you in these places, and people are like, who the fuck is this dude? How he doing all this shit? Where he learning from? Where's she learning from? Not knowing, you probably didn't have knowledge this shit has always been in your bloodline. But now you recognize like, oh shit, this is natural. Only thing is with that, it's more of a responsibility. Now sometimes you're going to show them, these motherfuckers can be, I'm just using as an analogy, they can be seniors, they can be all this, and again, you know how that is. Everybody get to a certain place where even how, you gotta realize the old narrative of school, all this shit reflects present. Some of y'all freshmen, I'm using that analogy, y'all freshmen walking into this motherfucking magical world and shit like this, or this spiritual community, or whatever it is and so forth. You stepping in, taking up all the fucking space. And you know how some people gonna find out? They're gonna get their karma, or they're gonna learn something. Is that they're gonna try to befriend you. They're gonna want to get close. In the spiritual sense, they're gonna try to come into your energy, your vortex, or whatever it is, without your consent. They're gonna research shit. They're gonna try to learn, who the fuck is this? Why haven't I known him before he came? You know how a certain athlete or certain people come in? Reminds me of the fact that like when I first came into a school that was so built off self-hatred. Again, all of this shit reflects the same old timelines and outdated system. It's all built on the same shit. Y'all keep thinking, bro, when I look at the spiritual aspect of even celebrities and all these other people, we're all a part of the school of life. You think that there is a jealousy, tension, and all this other shit. I mean, look at what they talk about. It's all about this versus this. Who has a better this? Who can spit this? Da 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 da. Rah 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 rah. To me, my perspective, very egoic. But when you have it's in you, not on you, there is no competition. Now, some of them are at that what do you call it? What is it? That they know it's in them to where there is no competition. At the same moment, I told y'all, people are brought into spaces just like where I live, or even brought into spaces spiritually in an industry or in something where they're either there to expose it or they can be consumed by it. No one is exempt from this shit. And this is how people collect their karma. If you think that a motherfucker at 18, 17 that went into a league or that went into something, then eventually catch the gist of what the fuck they were a part of, fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Even in the industry. If you think people gradually didn't know what they were a part of, something has to be revealed to you. Some people may don't until now. Until maybe they see this. Until now, they realize like, oh, just like a lot of people in their awakening for years were under a spell. But some people know exactly. And they try to act like it will never get to this point. So you got to realize like, oh, who you think you is coming in here think you finna. And they going to fuck around and find out. That's what also this is about. Everybody you cannot touch. Everyone you cannot speak on. Everyone you can't sit there and think you're going to breadcrumb and think you just going to do something to them. And there'll be no consequences. Especially when they're innocent. Think about you coming into a new school. I'm telling you, like, shit happened like that with me. You go into a new environment. I had the pressure of, are you going to become an athlete? Are you going to play for us? Yeah, you wouldn't believe the shit when I walked into this school that was predominantly, again, a certain color. But again, it was the energy that the shit was built on. I've learned this through art community, spiritual community. Y'all got to realize it's all a part of the universal aspect of things. How you're not, you go to adapt, not absorb. You go to be more of the observer. And you gradually learn this. It's just like a little kid going to places, you play along with people, you know, you really don't know them. You don't know them. You know what they go on behind closed doors. It's no difference than people that y'all put on a pedestal. You don't know what goes on with them behind closed doors. You don't know the vices. You don't know what they deal with. You don't know what they're a part of. That's just like kids in the neighborhood. Their parents and all of them, they don't know what their parents are a part of in a cult aspect. They don't know how corrupted their mom and dad could be, whether they're in a part of the police academy, white collar, blue collar, whatever it is. You don't know. Politician, everything. You don't know. Y'all think integrity is just going out there? No, there's an integrity when it comes to the soul aspect too. Like literally, when you are not trying to live in your purpose and honor that shit, you're not living up to your truth. You're not living to your fullness, your wholeness. These things that are collapsing are revealing everybody on every level. It's just like the whole pyramid scheme. There's significance to why that shit looks like this to where it's like this. Because that's balance when you think about the symbolism in what y'all call the 6-point star. There's symbolism to that shit. Hell, G. There's symbolism to that shit. And then, you know, there's so much symbolism to where the staff of a man, you know, the upward and then this aspect, and you put them together, it's a 6-point star. And then the womb of a woman, how it's shaped like a diamond this way, and then, you know, the man is symbolism. So that's the thing about things being uploaded to download. So you gotta, there's so much symbolism to it to where things are removed just to be replaced. Just to be replaced. So in that, again, when you start to look at that whole perspective, like this is school of life, it's no different than someone walking into, like I said, me with the arts and stuff. You know, that's a form of your spiritual gifts, your magic. How is it not? Think about the imagination. So when you think about the fact of how a lot of you have been divinely guided, so much so to where you thought you was supposed to be a part of something the whole time. If you're still here present day, that means you still have an opportunity to be a part of something that you had to be so patient in so that you wouldn't be consumed by something that you were sometimes not even prepared for. Because as some of these people fall from grace, they're going to be the key donators. You know, they're going to, because they know that they're a part of something even in a higher aspect or inner aspect of when it comes to the bloodline aspect of things, when it comes to the spiritual aspect. There's something within them, they're going to become aware like, who is this person? You know, I've never seen this. I've never seen that. And again, y'all get so caught up in age and whole time the person could be more equipped spiritually or wiser in a soul aspect or hold a frequency that's for the betterment of all, not just for an individual. So this is where, again, as you step into spaces and take up space and so forth, as is divinely orchestrated, everybody not going to be too jolly about that shit. Everybody not going to be too accepting about this. That's why I told you, some of y'all have in dream state, you see some of these celebrities or some of these people because they are a part of that shit. And I'm not saying this in a fearful aspect, because you know some people say, you know, they be, yeah, this person is a part of this person is a part of that. Yeah, I get that. But some of y'all are a part of the fucking being high ranking in that shit. It's going to take your integrity and authenticity to actually realize, like, you're going to wonder why the fuck all of a sudden these people trying to come to you. You're going to wonder why the tide has already shifted and realize they're going to want what you have. And it ain't going to be in a material sense. Sometimes it is. They're going to want to have something, but it's still a way to where no difference than how materials, art, or certain things hold a frequency, hold things energetically, spiritually. It holds something. Just like they hold shit in a jail, energetically, hold stuff in a museum, energetically. All of that shit is a form of either binding or bonding. Look at the fucking word when you bond out. What the fuck? All of these shit, these systems are collapsing is a part of a fucking trauma bond. Why? In teaching you and letting you know the part of going inward, guiding you through the fact of your emotional body, healing and so forth, there is a collapse systematically in what you call your prisons and everything. That's divine judgment. You won't have policing anymore. You won't have most of this shit anymore. Because it's all a part of everything to where, why do you think they have all of those securities and people protecting certain people? They're not as protected as you think they are. If you're so secure within yourself, those who know, you know that there's something greater guarding and protecting you. The fuck I need those people for? If you know, you know. Because they going to fuck around and find out. Like I said, when you step into these new spaces and certain people you start to see in your dream state, they are not supposed to be there. Or something is revealing to you in the shadows. What are you doing around here? And they're going to find out exactly what they're looking for. And when they do, they're going to get into some shit they can't get out of sometimes, yeah. Or they will have to come to you. Because for one, you ain't doing shit that they've been doing. I told y'all, shit gonna become clear and clear. You're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're trying to wonder how you get this, how you get that, how you da-da-da-da-da. What are you protected by? What is guiding you? Where are you getting this information? Who are you? Where did you come from? And it was this actually divinely orchestrated this way. I let my window up. So again, you gotta start looking at it. You about to enter spaces and places and so forth especially like I get excited, but it's almost this nervousness of like, oh shit, I'm about to go to a new school and relocate. It's a school of life. Look at it that way. I'm about to enter relocating, going to different places. Like I told you, when you go to new relocate and so forth, you are there to adapt. You are there to integrate. You are there to plant seeds. You are there to do inner work no matter where you are. There are people awaiting your arrival. There are other people who are fucking terrified of your arrival simply because you're going to expose the shadows. They're terrified. And a lot of y'all going to realize a lot of these celebrities, a lot of these people, no matter if they're politicians, whatever it is, no matter what they've been a part, they are terrified. They'll never tell you because they've been watching, but they are terrified because they really don't know. Once you realize like how the energy balances out, the weighing of the scales, a narcissist never wants you to actually step into reclaim your authority. Because once you stop giving them, they can no longer feed off whatever they used to do. This is everything that came with the old world narrative and so forth. Y'all gonna start to realize a lot of these people in these certain status are the very energy of a narcissist. I didn't say all, a lot of them are. The distorted mother was a fucking energy. The divine mother is an energy. That's the restoration. The distorted mother and father was an energy to keep people in their distortion. They keep people feeling like, I can do no fucking wrong. This is exactly the divine justice and judgments that's coming on people, on their motherfucking top. They are not exempt. And like I told you, the discipline that's going to come with that, it's going to come through, not the discipline, the authority going to come through y'all. Some of you, just by you being there. And then some of them going to actually fuck up by trying to attack you. Or feel like, y'all don't realize a lot of y'all spiritual attacks or certain shit, you thinking this person in your dream state trying to, for some of y'all, oh, I said so, such and such, now I dreamed of them. Bro, y'all don't realize, like, for some of y'all that don't have knowledge of this, they were not supposed to be there. They were not supposed to be doing that. They abuse their fucking power spiritually with that shit. You didn't know it at the time, but now when you come to know, you will realize the shit that they came to do, the intentions, or sometimes it's showing you already the intentions in the shadow, what they intend on doing when they actually meet your ass in the physical, because there is no time in the spiritual realm. I don't have stuff with certain people, and there was warnings not to fuck with them. There are other people too, when it comes to y'all who are associated with certain deities, certain, if you want to use the term gods or Neteru, there are certain things that y'all are associated with, those of you in the spiritual community. There is a fucking duality. Meaning that a lot of people who've been operating with said, whatever it is, forces and so forth behind the scenes, there is a duality. I said before in the previous videos, a lot of what you want to call gods or whatever it is are pissed or upset because people have been using just one aspect of who they represent. There is a fucking duality to everybody. Everything. And this is how a lot of people are careers and what they represent, their, what do they call it? A reputation is going to be destroyed. It's because that's what the duality is in certain aspect of, just like a star. It begins with a dark hole. And then all of those things eventually, it births a star. But at the same moment, this is a reoccurring process where sometimes certain stars burn out. Not all. But this is the thing about how people are going to burn themselves out, because they're just representing something but not showing the duality of it. This is the illusion that has been cast through their fame, casting the illusion to the masses that they can do not even just wrong. No, they too have collected karma and shit. They too have been a part of something. But they will make other people believe, or, give this illusion to the masses like they're not who they. But those who know and will come online be able to recognize then, like, oh, this motherfucker tried to cast an illusion over me. Or this, that's why the veil is lifted. The veil has been lifted. That's why they didn't want people to come into knowing who the fuck they really were. So now that you know to the depths, you will also know this too just came to me. That there are people that have also been close to you too, that are associated with these people spiritually. That was something that came to me about even when I grew up in my hometown in certain form. People who have some type of oddly obsession with these people, let's say a celebrity, also has connection to them spiritually. Some of y'all gonna need that. Some of them are interceding. What they call them, like muggles. Or some of them are interceding in a way to where they're like servants of their ass. But they're like almost like servants of the spirits that feed off that shit. Yeah. I knew of someone specifically. I couldn't put my motherfucking finger on it for a while. But as I was going through my abstinence journey, I connected with them. And they were so desperate to try to like reconnect sexually. I'm like, what the fuck? No. They were so desperate to try to get me to do something pertaining to a certain person. Like a celebrity. And I was like, what the fuck? I couldn't put my finger on why. But I realized like some people are actual monitoring spirits for these fucking people. And they don't even know it. Sometimes they do. But y'all don't realize how a lot of this shit operates. From the macro to the micro. So this is where the discipline comes in. Because it starts certain places, and as you gradually expand and grow, those people, whoever it is, they would have never thought that you would actually become and know who you are. Because at a point in time, the fucking scales have to be balanced. And they know eventually what they thought they got away with in the shadows, you now have the authority to bring justice to the situation. And however you see fit. Yeah. Some of y'all are bigger than, and this is where the energy is meeting, if you know, you know, where everything is being restored, where I recognize this, I ain't gonna say no name, but some of y'all are bigger, like in the spiritual ranking aspect, some of y'all are bigger than these fucking people in a spiritual sense, and this is what's integrating now. You are so much on a grander scale, higher ranking, than a lot of these people who are singers, wherever the fuck they are. I don't give a fuck if it's military, any of that shit. Y'all have a higher ranking to where they cannot go against nothing that you are called to integrate in this fucking earth's plane. They're going to have to come to you eventually. Because some of them, again, y'all don't see people in the shadows. You be like, why the fuck is this person just show up? You know how something glares and it comes in and it goes away? Why the fuck is this person in my energy? Because some of them actually are part of your assignment. Your assignment to actually, they know that this is the thing where, again, like using this term as a freshman, they know that they can either balance out shit that's assigned with you or actually go against it. That's that free will. That's just like any relationship. Y'all be talking about romance and all this other stuff. But outside of that, people actually have an opportunity to clear karmic debt or pay the debts. Because you don't never know in the spiritual sense. When it really comes to the bloodline aspect of all this shit, folks know that you are a part of something that is higher than whoever they get commands from. But yeah, like I said, that individual, through that discipline, I remember one night going over there, and I just knew I was supposed to be disciplined. I was assigned to say I was not supposed to do nothing. I had already vowed to myself that I wasn't finna do shit. Because I knew if I did, I probably wouldn't have made it out. Or I probably would have got something. And that's something which y'all gonna realize. Once you start stepping in these spaces, a lot of people gonna want to connect because they want to attach something to you to have your ass go right back through a loop. And that can be through sex. They can be through a lot of different patterns that you know that you were familiar with. So now you're discerning through discipline is more heightened, your intuition and so forth. This is exactly why they don't want the matriarchal women to restrain or go absent from sex or certain things, because a lot of energies will reveal, or a lot of through the healing will reveal parts of them that has what has been attached, who they've been attached to, what they were connected to, even through having sex and so forth, because it will cleanse them and their womb space. So they will naturally go higher in a conscious aspect. They will naturally heal. They will naturally, certain things will be revealed in the space that they are. That's why I keep telling y'all, when you don't have no fucking discipline, and here it is, you proclaiming to be a wise woman, y'all want to call it witch or spiritualist and all this other shit, just because you're a part of a spiritual community, you're a coven, whatever the fuck you a part of, same thing goes for men. When it comes to evolving, a lot of y'all doing this shit with a heavy fucking heart. A lot of y'all doing this shit with grief in your heart. A lot of y'all haven't grieved. So a lot of y'all carrying shit within y'all self and wonder why your lineage won't progress, and wonder why you keep going through heartbreak instead of heart expansion, because that's what the fuck the heartbreak is leading you to. You keep thinking you keep listening to these other motherfuckers think that they're not gonna get their consequences, and that shit ain't gonna backfire when it comes to try to sit here and think, oh, after someone do some shit, you automatically gotta remove them or take them the fuck out. Now, I get certain stuff for protection, but also you gotta realize there's a higher awareness to protection. Alchemy. You ain't gotta do shit sometimes, that's all I'm saying, but you best believe motherfucker is going to find out. Because as you elevate and evolve, there is other shit that will protect you, where motherfuckers can't even have access to you, because those things, you know, spiritually and so forth, will protect you. Because they're endangering themselves, especially if your calling is higher. They're going to fuck around and find out. That's exactly why I keep telling you, like, I know what's going to happen to certain people. Simply because they were working and doing this with somebody or whatever it is. It's just like gang stalking. Y'all got to realize gang stalking happens spiritually and so forth. Everything happens spiritually before it happens, ethereally before it happens physically. It's all a part of initiation. But they would never thought that you will see their ass again, or even have insight, or even be aware that you know these things. Some of you, let me tell you something. You ever had one of them dream states or certain things where you're on the other side and all of a sudden you see someone and they do this, or they like, and they see that you found out about something? Man, what does that tell you? They always been in the motherfucking shadows. They always been, they been back there. Y'all about to see government officials, people who are part, I don't give a fuck if they're part of shit when it comes to child care, schools, every fucking thing these energies operate through. You got to realize these are fucking people that were assigned on your journey, and they could have been supportive. Notice how some of them, they'll be supportive, even a little empathetic and so forth, and immediately just remove their hand. Because something probably told them, hey, you keep going on with them, no, this person got a specific mission. It'll be consequences to it. Because a lot of that shit, they all realize that, where narrative is all fear. And a lot of what they signed up contractually has a lot to do with them either obtaining something or having access to certain things. And a lot of that shit was not sustainable, because a lot of it is rooted in fear, and a lot of them, what they signed up for, will not only take them out, but the threats against their fucking family. Yeah, if you know, you know. But once you in this integrity shit and a higher power come, bitch, I wish you would think you finna come touch anything of mine or anything connected to me. You gonna fuck around and find out. Because they are connected to me. Now, those who dissociated and removed themselves, that's their consequences. But I know what's connected to me. That's what y'all gotta realize as you go higher and dive deep, you're gonna realize how this shit really start to operate. Bitch, we fearless over here. I ain't with that bullshit. Thinking you finna come in here and bribe and do all this other bullshit. Nah, bitch, I'm here to expose and expand and transmute and alchemize. So like I said, I know what's coming to that person. Because I start to realize like a lot of shit diving more deeper. Look, divine justice is coming to hairdressers. Oh, y'all didn't know? Crown, DNA, all of that shit, cosmetology, all of that shit is, bro, y'all don't. Blood banks, all of that shit. All of that shit. Foods, everything connected to it. Everything. What? With the swiftness. Everything got to be uprooted. All that rotten shit, people are rotten. You can smell them. The fucking entity attached to the, man, you're going to be able to smell them a mile away. Tell you, you're going to start to know, as you start to recognize through cleansing, you're going to start to recognize, like, who's really doing this shit to where they're blossoming. But yeah. Some of y'all going to start to realize, like, your hairdressers, it ain't just family. Y'all gotta, yo. Once you start having an eye for things, you gotta realize, like, you're gonna wonder why the divine gonna ask you to start doing shit for yourself. We're going in so much of a sacredness in to where you gotta realize, like, a lot of these people who have attempt to gatekeep stuff, they did it in such a malicious way. And that was for your protection. Because you don't know what they really were doing in the shadows. Like, a lot of people did stuff in such a malicious way to where that's why y'all used to see so many people go to an area such as like a LA and certain shit. And y'all think that shit makes sense to see all those people out there on the street strung out and stuff. They feed off that shit. To see people actually out there watch these people and actually think that that's why I keep telling y'all about these motherfucking spiritualists and all these other people. They're not who you think they are. You think that they can't write a book and do some shit and put some symbolism in some shit to keep your motherfucking ass binded to certain shit? Keep, like, y'all, man, this shit. Oh, man. What the fuck, boy? Y'all didn't listen to some of them teachers where they said, ain't nothing a motherfucker can do now when them original comes back. Because, boy, this shit is hilarious. It's hilarious to the point where you should be upset. You should be angry at the fact that there's not people in the spiritual community that's not angry or fucking up. And this is why the fuck I'm at they motherfucking necks with everything. I'm at they fucking necks. Especially the spiritual community. I'm at y'all necks. I know who you are. I'm at y'all necks. Y'all gotta realize, if anything, this is where a lot of people put their energy towards anyway. I'm at y'all necks. For sure. I'm at a lot of y'all necks. And I think a lot of y'all know. Y'all already know. If not, the shit that comes with you will let you know. I'm at y'all next. Because all of this shit, when it comes out to that, it plays a major role how everything is orchestrated here. Y'all are the fucking way makers. Y'all are the ones that's actually supposed to make sure a lot of shit is supposed to be, which a lot of you, I realize, are intentionally doing what you're doing. You know, there's a duality. But a lot of y'all didn't think a lot of shit would come to a head. So, going back to the fact that I told y'all like, people gonna think that a lot of people just gonna assume like, ain't because you don't have this person or that person, or because you're not even connected to what they think you're not connected to. Whoever it is that they're giving them commands or they're getting their support from spiritually and so forth, they'll just look at you and just assume, oh, you're just so innocent, you just an easy target and so forth. Bro, I'm telling you, they gonna fuck around and find out. You can't say no one didn't warn you. You can't say no one didn't warn you. And this is where, again, people could decide to be allies. They could be supportive or not. But that still don't mean there won't be a vetting process. That still don't mean shit is sweet. Folks know what y'all been doing. They may not know. You might have fooled the masses. You might have fooled them. But this is the part of where people are coming more awareness now. You might have fooled them. Over here is different. Over here is different. You got a new friend here. I'll let the windows down now. But I got to finish that analogy up. Like, even with the school thing, you got people who have been so popular in the world, they're not going to take a liking to you. You got to realize what the old world narrative has been built off of. All the insecurities, narcissism, preying on people's childhood wounds. And sometimes they're not even going to be knowing of this until sometimes you come in to be their reminder. Because they probably didn't know what they were a part of. But yeah, like I said, they sometimes it's going to be through you that they have to learn. So yeah, sometimes it's gonna have to be through you that they have to learn. They gonna need more than a motherfucking army. They gonna need more than anything once they realize it's a legion behind your ass. Woo, shit. But and see, that's the beauty of the forces that are playing out, because again, the power that used to be, a lot of things were about armed forces, physical force, all this other shit. And when you got people who are more in tune spiritually and gifted and so forth, they know that shit happens first spiritually. People, a lot of their fears is rooted in this physical plane. They get so scared of what a person would try to do to them. Not me. Not me, not at all. I know what comes with me more and more each day. It's a scary thing, but it's not a fearful thing. It's a scary thing like, oh shit, what? But anywho, so this again, I'm gonna finish this up to where, when you go and be called into spaces and so forth, there's a significance to, you don't attempt to just try to be overly confident, because that's what a lot of these trances are going to be revealing, is that it's going to actually reveal the inner work people haven't done, because they're going to try to overdo it. They're going to burn themselves out. And people are going to be able to pick up on that. When you do something effortlessly and you're confident, Yeah, you got to realize it's going to expose the energy. You can't do nothing but keep moving, keep going, stay balanced, stay structured, and for the most part, just stay heart centered. Because when you are in these spaces, it's preparation. You make your own rules. A lot of people don't like that. Or you go at your own pace. A lot of people not going to like that. A lot of shit that a lot of people were governed by, the contracts and all that other shit, you going to make your own. Or you know your contract is to the divine first, not to this shit. That's what's going to shift everything. Because people are going to try to offer you and all this other shit, and you know that contract is a means to an end, a self-destruction. And that's what it's leading a lot of people to. That's a shift that's already happening. It's going to lead them to that. And sometimes they're going to come to you wondering, how could I do this? Because they actually thought what they were a part of. It's just anything in life. What you thought you were a part of, you finding out a person was this the whole time you didn't know. It's life. It's a part of it. That's why you have the opportunity to pivot. You have the opportunity to let go. There are going to be people, too, that are going to pivot no matter their status, but a lot of them aren't ready to not have that spotlight or what you call that popularity. They're not ready for that. See, that's the thing that a lot of people don't know the depths of what fame and a lot of that shit comes with, what people get associated with. They become so imbalanced that they get lost in the shadows. They get lost to where they're lost in the idea of being idolized and forgot what gave you, initiated you even into that shit. You're not bigger than the program. No one is. And so when they don't have a balance between that, they can be easily become subjected to a lot of things. And that's the thing about a lot of people who are the all-stars that are coming in. You authentically have went through the fact of knowing that a lot of what you thought were tests or a lot of things that you assumed that was there to hinder you, no, it was there to grow you. These people haven't grown internally. They've been lost for a while. That's why I told you, when they step into spaces, when they're all of those things, whether industry, music, any of that shit, it's an initiation where you still have to listen to your discernment, where you still have to be intuitive, where you still have to have fucking boundaries. A lot of people don't have boundaries. They don't got discipline, because discipline, for one, is going to make sure you have boundaries. So when y'all be seeing them people sell out and all like that, they get to a place and all like, because they never had boundaries. You have to see it. Some of us have to see it to where like, yeah, damn, you, yeah, nah. Some people knew. Some people got in and got out because they knew it was different. It's a lot more to come with that shit. There's a lot more to come with that. And then you got to think they don't know nowhere else to do. How else they going to make a living? How else they going to live and feed their family? So, yeah. But they don't see that a lot of this shit that has shifted, it wasn't just about you feeding your family, your lineage. Because a lot of what the powers that used to be and all that shit that was so gate-kept and all like that to manipulate you and think that the abundance wasn't for all, that's where you got tricked at, bruh, little sis, sons, daughters. That's just where you got tricked. Having you believe that you shouldn't pour into other people, and if you did, it got to be broadcast because they monitoring you. You and your money. Don't let you get too big head. Don't let you get too something. Oh yeah, let's come. Just that energy, distorted mother and father, just like an abusive mother and father energy. Come in there, bully you, this and that, threaten you, do all that. Narcissistic templates. It made you out to be one. Now you on your world stage, or now you in your world portraying the same fucking energy. But I get it. Some of y'all didn't know. Just like I didn't know what I was part of. But as I start to do the inner work and start to realize, oh, fuck no. No, you are no different than my father. You carry the same distorted energy, or my mother and so forth. abandonment issues. Y'all carrying all this shit. Y'all carrying all this shit. If you will do it to that person, what makes you think that I shouldn't have discernment that you will come over here and try to do it to me, try to befriend me? You're no different than when I was in a school with people who had money. So just because you're a celebrity, just because you're a certain person of status, you got money, that you're no different? What makes you think you're no different? When you see all that self-hatred, racism shit spewed out, there's no difference in people in the what I went to school with, who had money, who got so big-headed, who was a part of shit, who was collecting karma. They didn't know that. This is why you're here to learn. That's why we're here to learn, to receive. Collecting karmic, that they think that, their money and all of this will protect them. They're no fucking different than a celebrity, than a politician, anybody else. You're not bigger than those who govern universal laws. No one is. You're not exempt, bruh. So before, you think I didn't have to see the people that go through shit, to think like there are consequences to them being a part of that shit that they try to hide from themselves and their family because they're running from themselves and they don't want to do the inner work? So they think that realm of the drug game or this and all of this is, I mean, you playing with fire because you don't see your own. And I get it. Those were the old loops that we see. And now we're going through a different cycle. So no one can convince me to tell me that this cycle that I'm going through with integrity, with authenticity, with patience and so forth, there are no shortcuts. You can go another way, but that sometimes that's just for your protection. Yeah. Oh, you thought you were supposed to be associated with that person? Just like I told y'all about that other story in one of my videos. The brother I just met, you just don't never know the energies that was trying to connect us, and then all of a sudden, him and his whole family, I think it's him and his whole family. Shit right there can be that close to where you can actually become entangled or connect with someone, and they get you into something where you think, this is cool. It's just like you go to a new school, someone try to introduce you to some drugs you never had or something you never had. And all of a sudden, now you become addicted, or now you become, there's a spiritual thing to that, to keep you distracted or derail you. This ain't about being perfect. This is about still learning through life and so forth. But what I will tell you, you cannot fuck this up how far we come now. The war is already won. It's just a fact of with you got to know that, because when you just walk away and step away, you let people choose their battles. Meaning, like, if I know that I'm not trying to battle you, you fuck around and come over here and try to initiate something and do some shit, that ain't gonna end well for you if you just assume. Especially if I've been persistent and so consistent on what I know I'm doing and so forth. You'll be wasting your fucking time and energy. Most of the time, you won't even be able to have access. I already know. You won't even have access to me, to who I am, to what I'm doing. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. Through the beauty of all this, you let people fuck up. You let them show you something. And then you see a pattern before. You let them do that. And then you know what? This is who you are. You're a liability now. So you won't have access to what I am coming into and building upon. So that's not on me. That's on you. It's just like if you a kid and you didn't grow up in bullying, you didn't grow up in certain stuff, but you probably didn't know this person did, and they, I see this shit happening with kids. They prey on other kids. What makes you think adults or people of status of certain form, this is what this society has been built on, preying on the childhood wound, preying on people. That shit starts young. I see kids now bullying other people outside of what they look like. They just feel like they can get away with it until there's the time, until something's going to come along and boom, you're going to meet the right somebody. That is called force. That is the energy you put out, and it will come back. That's why it's so vital to get to know you better and to realize how much you are the future for your children. They're watching to see how you respond and react to mama, to other people. Even you doing your fucking gifts, introducing them to a whole other world instead of other shit that they could be involved in. Give yourself a fucking pat on the back for choosing to be better for you first, because you are the future. They still got to live it. So there ain't nobody over here can convince me otherwise. But where I told y'all people karma and shit is coming in, is where you actually think that you are separate from the world just because they live over here. That's how much delulu and dissociation people have become a part of a system just because they of a certain status. You think that you're just separate? These are the same people. How do you not prey on them and their children when you don't care? Okay, you make shoes, you do all this other shit. You don't even fuck with them like that. You don't fuck with the children like that. Y'all don't fuck with them like that. It's all because how much you can eat. And that's what's going to get your greedy, your gluttony. Or whatever the fuck you want to call it. You on your hot hurt. And I told you, I don't see y'all niggas in the shadow. I know exactly where you finna be brought to. There's a new sheriff in town. You ain't got away with shit. Some of y'all karma's debt is actually going to be fall from grace and actually having to pay your karma debts back to the kids. Back to those parents. Back to those fucking mothers. And that's your free will. But there's still consequences. That goes for all of you. Ain't nobody exempt. Peace.